Hi, class. What we're going to do now is talk a little bit about socialization. It's chapter 12, and the basic thing you ought to understand about socialization is that it involves learning the culture. It's the process of learning the culture. So we have this elaborate culture that protects us in our environment, but you've got to learn how to do it. And you got to learn how to speak the language. You've got to learn how to interact with people. You got to learn all this stuff. And so it's a complex thing. Typically, we think of kids as having to learn the culture, but there is this concept of resocialization where adults who change jobs or occupations, well, it's the same thing, right? Or get retired. I mean, they got to learn new stuff, okay, to fit in. But generally, we think of it with respect to kids. And one of the things I like to do in talking about culture is I like to compare us with animals because we gain some insight by looking at animals and what they go through and compare it with our experiences. So I'll be doing that. I just now realized what was wrong here. I thought something a little goofy. There we go. Let me get rid of that. Let me turn that. Nothing like being organized. There we go. Socialization. All right. So I want to kind of compare us with animals, and I like to begin with a study that gives us some insight into socialization, and it's some animals, okay? It's chimpanzees, and so what they did is they had a tall cage, all right, and they brought in a chimpanzee. He hadn't eaten for a while. He was hungry. And they had suspended a bunch of bananas from the top. And in the bottom of the cage were 3 bars. They brought the monkey in, and the monkey sees the bananas immediately. And he's starving, so he tries to climb up to reach over, but he can't reach that far. And so he tries jumping, but he can't jump that high. And then he sees these bars. He's getting desperate. He sees these bars. He grabs the bar, jumps with it, unable to knock him down, throws it, doesn't work. So he's really upset now. So he's fuming, and he starts fiddling with 2 of the bars, and he manages to hook them together. And he jumps, and it's still not enough, okay? And so he fiddles around. Finally, he puts the 3rd bar together, knocks the bananas down. He eats, okay? Day 2, they take the original monkey, put him in a different cage, bring in a new monkey, hungry, with the original cage, bananas suspended from the top. They take the new monkey, put him in there. He's hungry. He looks around. He immediately sees the bananas from the top, at the top. He tries jumping. He can't reach it. He tries calling up. We're too far over. He sees the bars. He tries throwing one. He jumps with one. It doesn't work. So fiddles around. And finally, he gets 2 pieces of pipe. He gets them to stick together. He jumps. He's unable to knock them down. He's really frustrated. Now, finally, he figures out that the 3 pieces of pipe will attach. He knocks the bananas down. He eats. Okay? Here's the point of this whole exercise. The first monkey, who had learned how to eat, could not say to the second monkey, hey, stupid, you see those 3 bars? Here's how you fasten them together to knock down the bananas, okay? The second monkey had to relearn everything that the first monkey had learned, and it was because they didn't have language, okay? We as humans have language, and so we can learn stuff, okay, and then we can disseminate it. And if we have a written language, it becomes a permanent record. And it makes our culture cumulative, and it makes learning it easier, and we don't have to reinvent the wheel every time, okay? So it's a great advantage. So language is a critical factor in the socialization process. All right, the next animal study I want to include that illustrates some important truths about humans is I want to talk to you a little bit about a couple of different studies that the Harlows did. Okay, they were at OSU for a while, and they did some work with chimpanzees. And one of the things that they did is they were curious as to the effect of the environment for little monkeys. What they more specifically were interested in finding out is what is the effect of the group, okay, of the what do they call a bunch of monkeys? It's not a pride. I don't know, whatever it is, a bunch of monkeys. what is the effect of the colony? I think it's a colony. What is the effect of the colony on the individual monkey? And so they created they created three situations. Okay, one, excuse me, a monkey was raised in isolation. They had a liquid diet, no contact with humans or adult monkeys, right? And then introduced to the monkey colony. He was terrified. I mean, he didn't know how to interact. He did, and these disadvantages that he had continued throughout his life. He never found a mate, never lived an active life as an adult monkey. All right, that was one situation, and isolation, bad. Second situation, they were wondering, well, what would it be like if a bunch of little monkeys were raised together? Okay, no adult supervision. And the third situation was just a baby monkey raised with his mother. Now, you know the first situation is going to be the worst, okay? But then you think about, well, it probably would be better if the baby monkey was raised by his mother because you have adult supervision. But what they found actually was that the best of the three worlds was when a bunch of little monkeys were raised together with no adult supervision. Because what they learned were it was social, and they learned the rules of give and take. They learned how to get along. They learned how to cooperate. They had to, okay? Whereas the monkey with his mother, the mother would always provide, give in, adjust. And the monkey, when he was introduced to the monkey colony, didn't know how to get along with other people because he was used to getting his way all the time. So we have these three situations, and we realize that the way monkeys are raised and correspondingly the way we are raised, okay, has an impact on how we adjust once we get excited. So the point is that the group is important in shaping the individual, getting the individual prepared for survival. The group is an important part of socialization. There are a couple of other spin-offs related to this group business that I want to tell you about. During World War II, we had a situation in Europe where, think about this, you know, in the United States, we sent troops over, okay, about 9 million folks, and about 250,000 got killed, okay, but we sent large numbers over. But our society wasn't attacked, okay? We weren't bombed, but the places in Europe, okay, it's where the war was fought. And the cities were devastated. You had invading armies. You had people dislocated. And as a consequence of this, the orphanages in Europe were filled with children. And they soon realized that they had a problem. Because while they had the resources to take care of the kids, they had the food and the clothing and all that kind of stuff, they didn't have the people necessary to help raise those kids. And what they noticed is that a lot of little babies, they were well fed, they were clothed, but they became listless, and some even died. And they realized that they weren't getting enough human interaction, and so they were desperate. They created a situation in one orphanage where they had some older, mildly retarded girls, and they said to them, okay, you're going to adopt this baby. This is your baby. You hold the baby, you feed the baby, you love the baby, you take care of the baby. This is your baby. And what they noted is that there was a dramatic and profound improvement in those children, in their behavior. They started to thrive. Their IQs started to develop. They were growing. All of those kids later on graduated from high school. A lot went on to college. And what we've learned from this is that it's not enough just to be fed and clothed. As human beings, we need to be loved. We need somebody to take care of us. We need somebody to hold us and interact with us and talk to us. Kids need that. You get around a kid, and you can see that. I interacted with my granddaughter. I mean, it's just, we hold hands all the time. She craves that. She wants that. If she's nervous, she grabs my hand. It's a physical, it's a touch thing. Okay, they want to be protected. And that's a sense of security for them. And so we need that. And if you don't have that, you don't develop right. Okay, let me tell you about the story of Anna. This is a case study from the 1930s. There was this young girl who was raised in isolation. Her parents were nut jobs. And what they did is they stuck her up in an attic. They would shove food up to her, okay, and clothes, but they didn't interact with her. And when authorities found her, what they found is this girl, this scraggly little girl, who was like 13 at the time. She couldn't stand erect. Okay, she was huddled over. Okay, hunched over. She would eat by just shoveling food into her mouth. She made guttural noises. She didn't know how to speak. Okay, she wasn't human. Okay, Anna wasn't human because she's not learned how to be human. Folks, you got to learn it, and the place you learn it is from the group. Okay, it's part of the socialization experience. So the group is of critical importance in socializing the individual. Now, there was another study by the Harlows that I wanted to tell you about that's kind of a classic. They were wondering about the maternal bond. Why is it that the infant is attached to the mother? Is it because the mother comforts the baby, or is it because the mother feeds the baby? That was the central question. To answer this question, what they did is they created two fake monkey mothers, okay? They used hard wire to make an outline, okay? One of the monkey mothers was fitted with a nipple, and the baby could eat, okay? And so for one mother monkey, it was like you go to her for food. They're wondering, is that the bond? For the other, the hardwired mother monkey was covered with terry cloth, and they put a light bulb in it, turned it on so it was warm and snuggly feeling, okay? When frightened, the little baby would go to the terry cloth covered monkey. In other words, they would go to the mother that comforted them, not the mother that fed them. So they concluded on the basis of this is that the essence of the maternal bond is not the feeding of the infant, but it's the comforting of the infant. Again, it emphasizes this social need to feel, with somebody, okay, to touch somebody, to feel protected. Okay, we step back and we look at these studies and we realize that socialization is based on language. Okay, we realize that it's imparted. Socialization is imparted by the group. We know that it involves emotional interaction, okay, and feelings of love. And so all these things are components of or parts of the socialization process. So what I want to do now is I want to talk for a little bit about some theories. So these are kind of anecdotal, not so much anecdotal experiments, but they involve animals. So now what I want to do is talk about some theories that relate to the socialization of little kids. And we're going to talk first about a guy named Cooley. Oh, excuse me a second, just a second. Okay, folks, sorry for the interruption. So the guy we're going to talk about is Charles Horton Cooley. And he was interested in how the individual emerged from the group. And he concluded that the self, and by self, when sociologists talk about the self, think of personality. The self is a social product. That is to say, we develop ourself by interacting with others. And he said that there are three stages in the development of the self. So we've got Cooley. And the three stages in the development of the self, we imagine our appearance to others. We imagine their judgment of that appearance. And then C, we have some self-feeling. And if we feel bad about what we think others think about us, we change our behavior, okay? So this is how, according to Cooley, the individual becomes accepted by the group. They look at the individual wonders what others think of them. They don't ask them, they imagine, okay? And then based upon what they think, what we think others think of us, we feel good about ourselves or we feel bad. And if we feel bad, then we're likely to change our behavior. So this promotes conformity within the group. It brings the group together, so everybody's kind of behaving in the same way. Cooley had a kind of another way to say it, a cool way, and it goes like this. I'm not who I think I am. I am not who you think I am. I am who I think you think I am. In other words, we see ourselves as we think others see us, okay? And then, of course, we modify our behavior to gain acceptance. All right, that was Cooley. All right, now we've been talking about 20 minutes. I've got Mead to talk about, and then I've also got Piaget. So you know what? I think I'm going to break this. This is chapter 12. I'm going to break it down into two parts, okay? So this is going to be 12A, all right, and then we're going to have a 12B. Let's do that just to keep these things kind of medium size. So I'm going to stop here.